This video is sponsored by Pixpa. I have a confession. Lately, I've been feeling self-conscious about sharing my photography online. Instagram feels like this place where even if no one is saying anything, it feels like everyone is watching and judging you. It's probably related to my quiet nature. I'm not usually the loudest person in the room, and talking about myself does really come naturally to me. But I think this video is probably a reminder for me on why I started sharing in the first place and how I might keep doing it in a more intentional way, and also, if I'm honest, a bit of exposure therapy. If you're introverted or you've just started your photography journey, it's key to let people know that you're here, that you are a photographer. You don't need to be loud. The important thing is just keep showing your work, even if it's not there, even if it's not perfect. The act of showing up builds your confidence. And even if you've been doing this for a while now, you already know the type of work you want to be known for, it's okay to slow down and post with more intention and try to attract the type of work you want. But no matter if you're a beginner or if you're experienced, documenting your work is something that can help everyone. If you know me or watched one of my videos, you'll know that I'm all about a good movie or a book, and I have one for almost every occasion. So there is this book called Show Your Work by Austin Kleon, and it's really good. The main thing I took from it is to stop waiting. Instead of only sharing finished, polished work, it suggests to let people in on the process. Share what you're learning, what inspires you, and even the mistakes. That's what makes your work easier to connect with and more likely to be found. If I think about the type of content that I enjoy watching from other photographers, it's usually behind the scenes, lighting breakdowns, and if you don't feel quite ready to share your process on Instagram for fear of scrutiny, a newsletter could be a good way to do that. I actually sent out my first ever newsletter a few days ago, and the process of writing felt very good. I've never really felt comfortable expressing myself through words, as I had a speech impediment growing up, and I think that's how I became a photographer, and expressing myself through photographs definitely feels easier. If you're thinking of starting one, first of all, you have to decide what is it that you're going to talk about. For example, if you're working on a photo series, you could be sharing the references you've been gathering, the research you've been doing, while if you want to sell prints, you could share the contact sheets, you could share how you've selected specific photos that you're going to get print. So you see where I'm going with this. I really love movies. They really shape the way I see the world and the way I take pictures. But at the same time, I don't feel like I'm an expert or like a critic that I can write essays about them on Instagram. So the newsletter feels like a safe place for me where I can ramble about movies, share inspiration, since I can't keep bombarding my friends with hundreds of movies I think they should be watching. I also share gear that I'm trying, gear that I have on my radar, to hopefully hear from others that have used it and hear their experiences. It's less about reviews and more about starting a conversation. Also, don't feel pressure in sending out a newsletter weekly. It can just be whenever you have something worth sharing. If I never made a portfolio, I wouldn't have got a full-time job in photography that led me to shoot every day and practice my skills. I was completely self-taught, so after years of studying something completely different, that felt quite liberating, being able to get a job like that. Reaching this conclusion actually gave me permission to follow a different path, a path that I was actually interested in. And even if you're not interested in making photography a full-time job, making a website is still a way of creating a space where all your creative work and your photography can live. And that's where today's sponsor, Pixpa, comes in. And actually the very first sponsor of the channel, which is very exciting. If you're a photographer or a creative and you've been meaning to build a website for a while now, but you've been putting it off because it feels overwhelming, I totally get that. I'm not really techy and I definitely don't know how to code. When I first realized I needed a website, I wanted something minimal, something sleek, that obviously looked professional and sort of reflected the type of photography work I do. And most importantly, that didn't need technical skills to maintain and update. Pixpa is a good solution for all of that. It's an all-in platform that makes it easy to build a portfolio website, sell prints, deliver client galleries, run a blog, even collect emails for your newsletter, and you don't need to know how to code. What stood out to me right away was the design. I'm really into clean, minimal aesthetics, and these templates are nicely curated with creatives in mind. One I really liked, it's called Summit. It's simple but super polished. which makes your work pop without any distractions. Something else I like is the option to customize any template and make it really yours. You just click on design, set your color palette, and Pixpar applies it across your whole site, giving it a super cohesive, branded feel. If you try to look more professional online, you want to build your own platform with all your work without relying on social media, I think Pixpar is a great option. It doesn't need any technical skills and you can update it very easily at any time. You can use the link below to start the free trial and get 50% off your first year. I read a quote the other day that really stuck with me, and it was how much time you're spending consuming compared to creating. And I don't really know who said that first, so I can credit anyone, but if you know, leave a comment below. But that really made me think, because I was off social media for a while, for the last few months, especially Instagram and TikTok. And I've been on YouTube, and that's really helped shift my focus from consuming loads of content to actually make my own stuff and create more. Of course, I still want to be informed about what's happening around the world, and for me, YouTube works better in that way. I don't open YouTube to endlessly scroll and engage. For me, it's just more about selecting and watching the videos I actually want to watch to educate myself or for entertainment. YouTube has been a really great space for me to focus on creating, learning from feedback, and sharing my work in a low-pressure way. There is so much work and so many creative skills that are required behind a YouTube video, and actually making a YouTube video is a way of showing off those skills. As an introverted person, the thought that thousands of people might see the videos that you put on the internet can feel nerve-wracking, but the thought that one person, maybe the right person, might see it and a good opportunity might arise from it, for me outweighs the fear of criticism. I also believe that the negative comments, especially those ones that don't have any constructive criticism, usually say more about the person that left them than about yourself. It's usually people projecting their own insecurities onto you, so it doesn't really have much to do with yourself. Something that I have to keep reminding myself is that most people are primarily focused on themselves, so they're not scrutinizing us as much as we think they are. It's such an obvious truth, but fear and anxiety can make us forget that. But that's why it's important to always share your work, even on the days you don't feel like it, because you never know what might come from it. I really hope these thoughts might help you putting yourself out there when you don't feel like it. And if you have any more suggestions, please feel free to write them in the comments. I always read the comments and I learn a lot from them. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I'll see you next week.